What is up everyone, Mark here. Welcome back to my channel, welcome if you're new. Today I will be going over my top 10 songs for Eurovision 2024, now that all 37 songs have officially been released. So without further ado, let's jump into my number 10 spot, which is the Netherlands. This is Joost Klein with the song Europapa, and what an amazing entry. And even though we've gotten a lot of very energetic, fast-paced songs, I think this song really does stand out. One of the biggest pros of this song is the meaning behind it. The song is actually dedicated to Joost's father, who passed away before the making of this song, who told him when he was young that the world has no boundaries, and that is really the driving force of this song. The song is really about the world having no boundaries. You see in the music video and in the lyrics that Joost is going to all these different countries and exploring Europe and experiencing all these different cultures. And the song also ends with a spoken part where Joost is basically talking to his father, which I will put on the screen here. And I find that to be very powerful and just really makes this song something more than just a fun dance track. And actually on that topic, there's also this reference to Stromae in the song, and the song Papa Ute, which I'm a very big fan of. I love Stromae, one of my favorite Belgian artists. So a lot of what really accounts for this song's ranking in my list is the lyrics, is the meaning, is just everything about why this song exists in the first place. I also want to talk about the song itself. It is very fun, very fast-paced. I actually wasn't super keen on the song itself when I first heard it. I was really more interested in the meaning, but now I've really gotten used to this song. I've really gotten to appreciate how fun it is, how catchy it is especially. And I also wanted to point out that Joost actually has a live performance of the song that you can watch now, and I'll put it on the screen here as well, which shows for one thing how great Joost is performing in front of a crowd, but also gives us an idea of how much fun we're going to have watching this live in Malmö. So I'm very excited to see what he gives us on stage in May, and also how he conveys the deeper meaning of this song on stage when he's performing. Overall, this is an amazing song. For me, gets a 9 out of 10, and one of my favorites this year. With that, let us move on to my number 9 spot, which is Switzerland. This is an interesting one because I wasn't quite sure where to put it at first. I kind of had it as a bonus top 10 in my last video, but this song has officially entered my top 10 now, and that's for a couple reasons. I think for one thing, for me, one of the biggest reasons actually, now that we have every single song this year, is that there is an element of opera in this song, and we just don't really get that in Eurovision that much, not as much as I would really like nowadays. I am actually a big fan of opera, and so the fact that we're getting opera at all this year is awesome. Beyond that, I love the song itself. I think it is definitely one that took me a while to get used to, because not only is there opera, but there's also rap and pop and a bunch of other different genres kind of mixed into one, which for a lot of people is going to be a bit confusing, I can imagine. But for me, once I listened to it more, once I understood what it was going for, once I got it, once it clicked, I was like, okay, yes, this song is good. It is giving us something unique, something exciting, something fun. And that's what I give it a lot of credit for. I think it's very out of the box and just a lot of fun to listen to. It's actually very catchy, and that's why it is now in my top 10. I'm really excited to see what the staging is going to be like, because so far we don't have much of an idea of what it might be like. There's so many different things that I can see Nemo doing. I'm really curious to see how they pull this off on stage, what sort of props they use, what sort of staging, what sort of costumes, like, because I can imagine so many costumes could be used for this song, so much that can be done here, so much potential. And so for me overall, this song gets a 9 out of 10, and I am very excited and very curious to see how this will be pulled off in Malmö. With that said, let us jump into my number 8 spot, which is France. Now, I will say this entry has moved down a bit slightly. I had this song previously, I believe, in my top 6, just because some of the songs that we've gotten or that have grown on me more have overtaken this song in the top 7 spots. But I do still love this song. I think Zemrën is a fantastic singer. I think he's got one of the best voices in this competition by far. His voice simply gives me chills, and I also just love how many places the song takes me and how moving the song in itself is. Yes, it's a bit similar to songs like Voila or other French entries, and yes, the lyrics are not the most inventive overall, but I really like what the song is going for. I love how simple it is, and I really like a lot of these slower moments that Zemrën throws in, and I want to point out one of them out here. I think this is my favorite moment of the entire song, and where it really clicked for me when I first heard it. Yeah, that moment onwards, that's when I knew that the song was something special, and when I knew it had to have at least a place in my top 10. So yeah, I think Zemrân's amazing. I've seen a lot of his live performances, both in Croatia and also at the Arc de Triomphe, and there's a couple others floating around out there. So it's clear that he can give us a fantastic performance in Malmö. He is a fantastic live vocalist, and that is why, for me, he is in my top 10 still, after all this time, despite being the very first song we've gotten of this entire year. But I think the songs in my top 7 just have a little extra something for me that makes them slightly above France, but I still love this song. I still love Mon Amour. I think it's an amazing song. And for me, overall, we'll get a 9 out of 10. With that said, let's move on to my number 7 spot on this list, and that is Latvia. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what this is doing on my list, and that's probably because this is not in a lot of people's top 10s. This is not in a lot of people's top 15s even. I'm well aware of that, and that is why I want to explain why Don's with his song Hollow is ranked so highly in my list. Okay, so there's a number of reasons why I really like this song, why I really appreciate this song. When it comes to vocals, Don's is incredible here. I think his voice is so powerful, so deep, carries so much emotion. The way he's able to express so many emotions just through his voice alone is very impressive to me, and I was able to feel everything he was feeling just from this performance, and that was really amplified by the staging. The staging here is very simple. From what we got in Supernova, it was just Don's on stage by himself with just kind of dark staging in the background and just a bit of lighting work here and there. Nothing too crazy, nothing too over the top. Sometimes less is more. I thought it was a great performance, great staging, great everything. So now let's talk about the song itself and why I like it so much. The song is about finding yourself, about being authentic to yourself, how to live life without selling yourself out, which I think is a big struggle for a lot of people, especially for myself being a YouTuber and doing all these other things in my life. Trying to still be authentic to myself, what I believe in, what I want to do is very challenging, and I think that's something that Don's really speaks to with this song. So really carries a lot of meaning for me. I think the song itself is beautiful. Again, his voice, the emotions he's able to convey with that voice, it all works for me so well. And I also think the song is very catchy, and I'm actually kind of surprised to see it so low in people's lists. I think the song is very underrated this year, and I think Don's is a fantastic artist with a fantastic song. So before I move on, I want to say I hope this qualifies. I think this is one of Latvia's best entries ever, in my opinion. I love a lot of their entries anyway. I wanted them to qualify last year too, so hopefully they will qualify this year. I think they deserve it. And with that said, let's move on to my number 6 spot, which is one of our new songs this year, and that is Portugal. This is Yolanda with the song Grito, and this is one of my new favorites, actually. I love the way the song sounds, kind of similar to the last entry on this list, and also kind of similar to a lot of Portugal's other entries. This song really exemplifies the idea that less is more. This song in itself, and also in its staging, is so simple, yet conveys so much emotion, so much meaning, and so much power. And songs like this, I think, are what Portugal does best. Songs that are very soft and melancholy and very simple, and also give us very simple staging that all just works so well. So let's talk about things like the vocals, the staging, all that. I mean, there are some very powerful vocal moments here, especially towards the end, especially this moment here that I think really is the crescendo, the climax of this entire song. Yeah, that moment is where I was like, okay, this has to be my top 10. I'm not really seeing this song in too many people's top 10s, but I think this is very underrated. I like songs that are very different, that put you in a trance, and this song does exactly that, and the staging too works so well for that. The staging is so simple. It's just Yolanda with a couple dancers, and the way the dancers move around her and everything, it's so elegant. Let's talk about the meaning of the song itself too, because that is kind of tied into this staging, and the song is actually about Yolanda's struggles with mental health. The song's title is actually The Scream, so it's almost like she has this scream building up inside her that she just can't let out, which is the big catharsis of this song. This moment again here. Yeah, I just have to play that again because it's just pure catharsis of just everything going on in her head that is just finally being able to escape. And I also love too, one thing I want to point out is at this moment when she is having this scream, her facial expression doesn't even change. It just makes it that much more powerful to me. So let's dive into the lyrics as well, right? There's a lot of lyrics about being a flame that burns and burns. And according to Yolanda herself, this flame is actually something positive. It's something that we need to hold on to. No matter how broken we might be, no matter what we go through, there is still a flame inside of us which still burns. And we have to hold on to that flame and cherish it. That is really powerful and very meaningful, and again, another thing that really makes this song such a standout for me. Now, I'm sure the staging would still work with Yolanda on stage by herself, but I actually think the dancers add a lot to this performance. The choreography of these dancers, I think, really reflects the turmoil and chaos that goes on in someone's mind when they are struggling with mental health, and it just makes this such a moving and powerful entry. So for me, I'm going to give this song a 9 out of 10, very, very close to a 9.5 out of 10. I think if there is any song on this list that has the most potential to move into my top 5 or even top 3, it is this one, because I can see this song growing on me so much with more listens, and of course as we see some rehearsals or even live performances before Malmö. So that said, let us move on to my top 5. Again, Yolanda may very well soon become part of my top 5. Remains to be seen just because all of these entries are so strong. But all that said, in my 5th place is Serbia. This is Teodora with the song Ramonda. Similarly to the songs I've mentioned previously, this has more of a melancholy atmosphere. It's a lot slower paced, and Teodora just has such a wonderful voice, such a moving voice, and I also really enjoy the staging. The staging is so simple, so elegant, really pulls you into a different world, a different universe, especially at moments like this, or like with the flower at the end. Some very captivating imagery for a very captivating song. But let's talk about the song itself, why I like this song and why I appreciate it so much. So the title Ramonda is actually referring to a flower. This flower, the Ramonda, is also a symbol of Serbian victory in World War I and is worn by Serbians on Armistice Day. The country actually suffered the largest casualty rate relative to its population during this conflict, so this flower really is a symbol of perseverance and strength during a time of hardship and struggle. And in a lot of ways, what the flower represents is what this song is about. There's one specific set of lyrics I want to point out here that I think really gives a picture as to why this song is so powerful and especially so relevant today. It is this lyric here, which reads, "The world is on fire, every flower too. Where have lilac Ramondas disappeared to?" Now, Teodora herself has said that this song is subject to many interpretations, but I really do believe that this song is in a lot of ways reflecting the state of the world today. And I think in a lot of ways, this song is echoing what a lot of us have been thinking. What has the world come to? Where has peace gone? I think Teodora conveys all of that beautifully through her voice, through this song, through the lyrics of this song. I'll put some other ones on the screen now so you can see even more of what Teodora is actually saying with this piece. And overall, I just think this is an excellent entry, one of Serbia's best in my opinion. Whether or not this does well in Eurovision, whether or not this even qualifies, even though I'm sure that it will, Teodora has given us a masterpiece, and I just cannot wait to see what she gives us in Malmö. This will get a 9.5 out of 10, very deserving of my top 5, and one of my absolute favorite entries of this year. So let's move on to my number 4 spot, which is currently Norway. This is Gata with the song Ulvaham, and this is one of the most unique songs we've gotten this year by far. The song is sung all in Norwegian, which gives a lot of points for me because I love songs in native languages, especially languages that we don't get to hear that often in Eurovision. And the lyrics are actually inspired by a Norwegian folktale. So the song is very unique to Norway. The song itself is also just very catchy, fun to listen to, very dynamic. So many different elements going on, so many different instruments. Instruments like violins, guitars, drums, and we all know Norway and violins are the perfect recipe for a great Eurovision performance. So this entry already has so much going for it. The staging, I want to say, is some of the most inventive we've gotten. We got the lead singer spinning around on, I guess, like a spinning disc or something, a little platform for her, and you have these cuts to nature and ice and different natural elements, and you have a lot of crazy lighting and lightning almost going on in the background. It's very dynamic, it's very interesting to look at, and it just holds your attention the entire way through. Now, I'm curious how they're going to stage this in Eurovision, but I actually think this performance, this staging that we have in MGP, could work perfectly. As a matter of fact, the stage in Malmö is designed to give you a 360 experience, and what better way to have that than the lead singer literally spinning around? I think that is actually a great coincidence. I don't imagine that was intentional, so I hope they keep that element because that would actually play really well to the strengths of this year's stage. So for me, this song also will get a 9.5 out of 10. Really great entry. I don't find too many flaws with it, honestly. I think it is amazing, so dynamic, so interesting, and it's going to give us something really special in May. So with that said, let us move on to my top 3. This could change as I listen to all the songs more and as some grow on me or some grow off me, but for now, this is my definitive top 3 as of today. For me, my number 3 spot is Ukraine. This is Jerry Heil and Alyona with the song Maria and Teresa. Now, if you don't know, this song already wins points for me because it includes Jerry Heil, who is one of my favorite artists from Ukraine. I love a lot of her music, and I especially loved her entry in Vidbeer last year. In a lot of ways, a lot of the elements that I liked from her song last year for Vidbeer really is present here. So much of those amazing vocals that she gives us, especially some parts towards the end, really add a lot to this song. And one other thing I like about this song is that not only do you have these soulful, melancholy vocals, but you also have a rap break. And not a lot of songs we get have rap in general, so that was pretty cool to me. I think Alyona is actually a really good rapper. I actually love her segment, and I think it adds a lot to this song and this message the song has of empowerment. Actually, on that note, let me talk about what this song is even about in the first place. The song is referencing 2 iconic female figures, those being Mother Teresa and Mary. And in the words of Jerry Heil and Alyona, the song is not necessarily about these historical figures. They really are more so symbols for charity, love, and unification. So that is a big part of of what drives this song, what the song is really trying to convey. Even without reading the lyrics, we can get a sense, that feeling of overcoming hardship and keeping that hope for a brighter future. I think Jerry Heil's vocals are amazing. Alyona's rap segment is also amazing in its own way, and they come together so beautifully to make one of the most unique and exciting songs of this competition this year. So for me, this will get another 9.5 out of 10. Really love this entry and just cannot wait to see what they do, how they pull this off in May. With that, let us move on to my top 2. These entries are actually very close together for me. I actually think they're both very, very good. So let's talk about my current second place, which is Italy. This is Angelina Mango with the song La Noia. This may be the only entry of all the entries we've gotten this year that requires absolutely zero staging, that in my opinion almost shouldn't even have staging in the first place. Angelina is such a charismatic performer. That is clear in every second of every performance she has given of this song. And keep in mind, in the Italian national final, which is of course the Sanremo Song Festival, there is really no staging at all. Maybe just a couple lighting things here and there. There are no dancers, there are no crazy LED effects or anything like that. So every time Angelina has performed this, it has been without any staging at all, and it has been excellent. I mean, really, if she just shows up to the Eurovision stage with just herself, she can get a top 10 result easily. That is a huge part of why this entry is in my top 2, because without any staging, without any LEDs, any special effects or anything, Angelina gives us a 10 out of 10 performance. Now, I'm sure if there was some staging or dancers or whatever, we can elevate that somewhat, but I really don't think it's necessary. I think this alone is fantastic, and you don't need to do much else to it, really. Of course, beyond Angelina's amazing stage presence and her performance, I also love the song itself. The song has a bit of a Latin flair to it, which I find very unique, especially for entries from Italy, and everything here about the song, about the vocals, about everything, it just works. What I found interesting in my research is that La Noia actually translates to boredom, which is not what I expected it to translate to when listening to this song. I actually am Italian, but I grew up elsewhere, so I actually did not know that La Noia meant boredom, and reading into the lyrics really surprised me, actually. I'll put some lyrics on the screen now, but according to Angelina herself, this song is actually a reflection on time. She says boredom is usually seen as a negative thing, but actually it is time that you dedicate to yourself and allows you to discover yourself. Angelina also says this quote, which I love too. She says, "Between a life of highs and lows and one of boredom, I will always choose one of highs and lows, but I will always leave myself time for boredom as well." It really just has such an excellent message about being able to find joy and fulfillment in even the most boring moments we experience. So yes, overall, this song, as you might expect, gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Everything about it, from the lyrics to the vocals to the staging to the performance, all of it I love, all of it I think is amazing, and Angelina has outdone herself with this entry. However, there is one song I just like a little bit more, and again, these songs were very interchangeable for me, but for me right now, my winner for this year of Eurovision remains Croatia. It was kind of hard for me this year to find a song that had winner energy. I think all of them are great. There's so many great songs that I think could easily win, or just I would be happy if they won, but this song in particular just really had that extra something for me. If we're getting more detailed, I want to talk about the staging for one thing, right? The staging is so exciting. You have a lot of different special effects in the background, a lot of really fun props and costumes on stage. A couple Croatian elements thrown in, especially the costumes that are very reminiscent of what people wear in the countryside, which I think is interesting. And of course, maybe Lasagna's crazy looking outfit. So a lot of cool stuff in the costume department, a lot of cool stuff in the staging, like the little cats in the background towards the end. A lot of this is very out there and weird and different, but it all works very well. Whereas some other entries that try to be fun and different and crazy, like Finland's entry this year, didn't land so well for me. And also the song itself is really fun to listen to. It's very catchy. I have it stuck in my head a lot, but what also sets the song apart is that it actually has a deeper meaning. It's not just some fun entry, like, I don't want to call out Finland too much, but no rules. It has a deeper element to it. So the meaning of the song really is about the anxiety one feels when leaving their home. So Baby Lasagna is actually singing in particular about young people in the countryside of Croatia moving to the cities. And that is something that happens in a lot of different countries, but especially in Croatia. And I think it's interesting how Baby Lasagna is exploring this issue through such an out there, zany, fast-paced kind of song that at first glance seems like a joke entry, but when you dive into it, actually has a lot more substance than one might initially assume. So I really like this song for not only being so fun, but also having a bit of a deeper meaning and kind of getting at an issue that a lot of people right now, not only in Croatia but around the world, are actually facing, is really leaving your hometown and moving somewhere else. That's one thing that I myself have kind of been experiencing lately and have my own anxieties about. So that is something that I actually appreciate about this song song and a way that I can actually relate to it. So really love this song, really love the composition of it. It's actually quite funny that Baby Lasagna actually made this entire song in his bedroom, because I think the production is actually pretty solid. So big points for that as well. Now I have seen some comments that this song is overrated and things like that. I get it, I understand where you're coming from, but for me, if I had to choose a winner, it really would be this one at this moment in time. I simply just like this song a lot. I like it a lot more than plenty of other songs we've gotten this year, and I like it a little bit more than some of the songs in my top 5. And it was very hard to choose a winner for this year, but so far, right now, as a snapshot in time, Croatia is the song I want to see getting the trophy this year. I think it is the most unique, the most fun, the most dynamic, and that's not by a large margin. I think Italy and Ukraine, and of course Serbia and Norway are also very unique and dynamic and exciting, but I just like Croatia a little bit more than those right now, and I really want to see it do well in Eurovision. I think Croatia really deserves their first win after all this time, and yes, I love this song. I think it's so much fun, so exciting, and just one that I keep on coming back to. So for me, this song gets a 10 out of 10, just like La Noia, which is why they're very interchangeable for me. And with that said, that really has been my top 10 so far for this year. You might have seen some things have changed around. Some songs are new here, some songs are not here anymore. So please comment down below if you agree or disagree with this list, what your thoughts are on the songs this year, especially now that we have all 37 of them, and what your top 10 is down below. Really excited to hear what you have to say, and I really appreciate all of your likes and comments and subscriptions, and it all really means a lot to me, so thank you all so much. I will be making a full tier list video soon, so stay tuned for that. But for now, this has been my top 10, and I will see you all next time. Peace.